in 2012, the Jobs Act was passed, and included in that was the legal framework to be able to do crowdfunding for real debt and equity. So prior to that, in John's example of the grocery store, it was not legal to crowdfund for a project unless you registered with the SEC and went through all of those requirements. Talked about Kickstarter and GoFundMe. As attorneys, you probably know, and if there's any security attorneys or related, you probably understand this as good as well as anybody, but since 1933, when the Securities Act was passed after the run-up in the stock market and the Depression, securities needed to be registered with the SEC, and they also introduced what's called an accredited investor. So some securities were only open to accredited investors, and prior to that, and since that time, things really didn't change in the landscape of raising capital. You had accredited investor offerings and non-accredited investor offerings. So jumping ahead to 2012, when Congress passed the Jobs Act, there was a lot of hype around it at the time. This was when a lot of us probably heard about crowdfunding in the newspapers and business magazines. The problem was it was passed in 2012, and Congress said, okay, SEC, go ahead and implement this. And SEC didn't implement what's called Title III, which actually allows crowdfunding until 2016. So there was a 3.5-year lag where everyone's excited and the government did not implement any guidelines about how it could take place. So traditional crowdfunding, which in Title III offerings, as we know it today, were not available at that point until 2016.